We're going to get to all the AFL action very shortly, but it is the final week. We've entered the final week of the January transfer window, and I'm sure as we'll be discussing over the next 6 days, all the way up to next Monday's deadline, which clubs need to do business. One answer will always come up, I'm sure. That club is Tottenham Hotspur. Jamie, let me start with you. 15th in the Premier League on this wretched run of results. We know about the lengthy injury list, and yet their only arrival so far this month has been a new goalkeeper, which they needed. How great is their need for more reinforcements in terms of outfield positions?
I mean, if you ask the manager, I'm sure he's going to say massively great. I think I'm not privy on the timeline, particularly for the two centre-halves, which are key for them, clearly, with the amount of goals that they ship. They need them back. I think he would say, I want as many bodies and I need bodies. But being realistic, they're not going to come, are they? I think that they need to get the bodies back that they've got. I don't see any value in changing him now. I think that let the players come back, see how they get on in these cup competitions, which they kind of got a bit of hope for and they're hanging on to, which they won't have any hope in if those two centre-halves aren't back, in my opinion. So they need to get back. But I worry for those players coming back, because when you talk about hamstrings and muscle injuries like that, it's not easy to find your stride and come back into games, Jules, without risking that injury again. So I'm sure they need reinforcements. Will they come? Don't think so.
Well, I mean, Van der Ven's training. That's the news today, that he is back in training. Been a big loss, hasn't he? Sue, where do you stand on this? 6 defeats in the last 7 Premier League games, 15th in the table. It is bolstering the squad, spending some money, the only way to stop the slide they're on at the moment?
Well, or getting those players back fit and available that they've lost, because I just think it's so difficult to judge Tottenham at the moment with all of the injuries. It's not just injuries to squad players, it's injuries to key players that would be playing, the goalkeeper, the two centre-halves, midfielder, centre-forward. You know, you could go on with the amount of injuries. Yes, you can say, obviously, the defeat to Leicester, a team that had lost the previous 7. That's poor. The Everton game where they conceded 3 to a side that has struggled to score goals. And you could see that there was a lot of fan frustration. That was probably aimed at Daniel Levy, because the fans think that they need to bring in more players. When you look at it, you'd probably say a left-back to cover a doggy, maybe a left centre-back. Again, if you're going on, maybe a winger, maybe another centre-forward. That's if you were obviously wanting, you know, to bolster that squad. But it's always difficult in January, isn't it? It's always difficult with the amount that you're going to pay for a player. And also, are you going to bring in the right player? You don't just want to bring in any player, just a body. You want to bring in somebody that's going to certainly help and strengthen your team.
You know, for me, I feel sorry for the manager, and I do feel sorry for Tottenham. Need to be careful. They need to be careful. You know, for me, they've had Mourinho, they've had Conte, they've had Nunes. You know, they've had them managers that the crowd have been going mad. We want the Tottenham way, They brought this lad in. We've seen what he done last season when he had a fit team and he got flying and then they drifted away. But he entertains. He wants to play on the front foot, and he can do that when he's got his centre-half Van der Ven playing, because he's the main man. But stick with him. If he goes now, they're going to go with someone who's got to come up and shut shop up, play 10 at the back, play from a counter-attacking football. The fans will go mad again. Give him a chance. Give him next year as well. And I'm not saying that Arsenal, you know, and people go, oh, he wants that because they're losing every week. Tottenham are a good team to watch when they got their players fit, but Van der Ven has to play. Yeah. If Van der Ven don't play, I mean, Sue just went through the spine of the team. You know, we talk about who they need. They need midfield players. They've got no midfield players. Bentaker, they've got Bentaker. The others haven't been good enough. They don't dominate football matches in the midfield. Whoever comes in doesn't dominate. You know, they have a good goalie, or a half-decent goalie. They've got 2 good centre-halves, or one very good and the other one's better when he's playing with Van der Ven. They've got a good centre-forward who's just starting to play now. You know, Kulusevski would get in virtually every team in the Premier League. Every team in the Premier League, in my opinion. You know, but they need that spine, and I've just reeled it off. You know, the goalkeeper's come in, they bought him, they needed a goalie. That goalie ain't going to play when the goalkeeper's fit. And this is the problem with Tottenham. It's all right going, oh, we'll go out and buy him. But none of them will play when all the others are fit. And Tottenham haven't got money to give 70 grand a week for people sitting on the bench. You know, so for me, I'd be patient. You know, who knows? They're still in all the cups. They've still got a good. They've probably got more chance to win the Europa Cup because they haven't got Liverpool in the Europa Cup. You know, so they're still in all the competitions. I would sit tight. The only problem is when them Levy banners start coming out, there's only one thing that's going to happen, and I'm going to take the pressure off me. off you go, manager.
But it's an unusual situation. You've got a team down there that have got a +9 goal difference. In terms of the chances created and goals scored during the season. The thing for me as well is, and away from home, people think they ship lots of goals. They don't. They're one of the better defences away from home, Tottenham. The big issue is when you lose at home to Ipswich, when you lose at home to Leicester, that's a mentality issue. Yeah, the injuries, of course, are so key, but he's got to figure out a way to get the right mentality into some more of those players, because as you've just seen with those goals, that's poor mentality. It's not running back hard enough. OK, it's one thing to play a really exciting way. You've still got to run back hard when you lose the ball. And I think it's a mentality issue at the moment when you're losing to those teams at home.
I do think at the moment, though, they are low in confidence, and I also think...
Well, that was the thing. None of them want the ball, you know.
And the energy levels are low because of the way that they play. When you're playing the same players over and over again, that energy just isn't there. So I think there's a combination of things at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, some fans we've heard voicing their anger at the manager. Other fans we've heard voicing their anger at Daniel Levy. Maybe some fans voicing their anger at both.
Where would they rather be? 6th in the league or an out of every cup? Or 15th in the league and still in every cup?
No Tottenham fan on the panel, I can't ask. I'd love to speak to you Spurs fans out there, but I can't hear you back. I mean, Jamie, who's culpable for you for the position that Spurs are in at the moment?
I think I hear probably more for Spurs fans, should I say, on the chairman. Because everything plays into the narrative of them having an amazing stadium, which we all know is incredible. And I think the frustration always comes from the fact that they've got, F1 go-karts down there, they've got NFL coming in and out, they're trying to buy out land around there to buy training grounds for them. And ultimately, when you're a supporter of a football club, what makes you happy is seeing your team do well on the football pitch. And I know he's done a lot in terms of that and infrastructure. And the one thing I'd sort of caveat that with is he has spent a bit of money.
130 million they spent in the summer.
So he has spent money. I think that with the different managers, for me, I get the frustration in the manager, but again, I'm with Sue, what Sue said. Can I fully judge him, or can you fully judge him with that list of injuries that we had? I think Merson said it earlier, we were chatting. If you took out the 2 centre-halves from Arsenal, they wouldn't be where they are in the league, completely different side. And he's got a whole list, virtually a squad of pretty much starters who are out. So I don't think at the minute, but I do understand the frustration as a whole on both parties. And I think that sticking with Ange, keeping that stability, having tried proven serial winners and all sorts at the football club, stick with him, see how it goes in the cup. Got to get him the opportunity to go in the summer and try and bend Daniel Levy's arm to get a few more quid. Maybe that won't happen, but we'll see.
Well, it's a really big week or two, isn't it? They've got Elfsborg in the European competition this week, and then 3 successive away games at Brentford, Liverpool in that semi-final, and then Aston Villa. Will they do business before the deadline? Of course, Sky Sports News is the place to find out all the way through to deadline day on that 11 p.m. deadline.